are paying basically welfare to the Taliban martyrs' families. So every Taliban member who died during the war with us, the U.S. government is paying them a stipend, the family. So our families of Americans who died there aren't getting squat, but we are paying Taliban families for basically dying while attacking us.
Disgusting. One YouTube commentator, Michael Foster, raises a great question. He asked, you wonder why she said 43 to 87 million. It makes you think why it changes every week. Someone definitely taking some of the money on the way. So just where is all of our money going when the Biden regime sends it to the Middle East? Are we actually bankrolling our enemies? Well, it certainly seems so. Let's ask Congressman Brian Babin from the Republic of Texas. He joins us now to get the bottom of this. Clearly, you're very upset with what's going on, Congressman Babin. And there's not a lot of transparency around this, but it seems like the Biden-Harris administration, Freudian slip there, is already, is sending millions and millions and millions of dollars to the Taliban, and it's expected that that's being used to then make weapons that are used in the conflict we're seeing overseas.
No question about it, Emerald. I'm of the opinion that the woke agenda of the left is funding, propping up terrorists around the world, and you don't have to look any farther than the Taliban in Afghanistan. We've had reliable information. A report came out that since December of 21, the UN, alongside a constellation of other groups, has helped funnel some $3.8 billion worth of U.S. currency into the Taliban-led nation of Afghanistan. First off, let me just say this. The United Nations, quite frankly, is a joke now. It should not be receiving any U.S. funding at all. I think if we don't exit the United Nations, we should at least stop being the major donor and contributor to its operations. And this is the same organization that awarded seats to China, to Russia, to Cuba on its Human Rights Council. Unbelievable. The same organization actively giving funds to immigrants heading across our southern border illegally, and the same organization that put forth the bogus Paris Climate Accords.
Well, you said it's their woke agenda, but I think this almost surpasses the idea of a woke agenda. It seems as if they really do truly want to continue to destabilize the region by flooding this money to terrorists.
Well, the Biden administration simply has their eyes closed, or they're playing a little more subtle, evil game. I can tell you that I don't trust them. I'll tell you something else. Your Freudian slip is, I think, very, very appropriate about Kamala Harris, this Harris administration. She's been part of this deal to open our borders up. She is as far radical left as you could get in the United States of America. And I'll tell you, liberal progressives like Kamala Harris, they're so obsessed with sending money to every woke faction in existence, nanny state, Marxism. They fail to look at where these funds, our tax dollars, are actually going, or really do they know where they're going? Sometimes you can get off into a conspiracy theory. Some are right, some are wrong, but I will tell you this, lately in the last several years, the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth sometimes is very short while, like maybe a month, maybe a week.
The timeline's getting shorter, actually, as we go on. I think you really hit the nail on the head when you noted the Marxism aspect of that. That's something we've been covering pretty in depth, the Marxist roots of Kamala Harris. But getting back to the topic at hand with the Taliban, Sean Ryan, who broke the news about the millions of dollars flowing weekly to the Taliban, also had the leader of the only remaining pro-U.S. Afghanistan resistance movement left, Ahmad Massoud, on his podcast. Massoud made this startling claim. Let's listen.
Right now, there are more than 21 terrorist groups active in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda, Jaish al-Adl, TTP, Ansarullah, Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan, the Uyghurs, and many, many other terrorist groups, regional and international. They are active in Afghanistan. We are very much aware, and all the intel it indicates The people do come from outside Afghanistan for training inside Afghanistan. They do get training inside Afghanistan, and they do leave Afghanistan. To where, we don't know. But those things that inside Afghanistan, we have sort of eyes and ears, we know that that process is happening.
Why is Afghanistan the prominent training center for terrorism?
Because it doesn't have a legitimate government. Because the regime which is in charge right now in Kabul has the same ideology as the rest of the terrorist groups.
Is that the only country that is like this?
It's the main country right now in the world.
Well, he was saying that Afghanistan remains a terrorist training ground, and this is what we're sending money into, essentially.
No question about it. I mean, we have given up so much in Afghanistan. My own son has been to Afghanistan. He was a Navy SEAL. 3 tours to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan, and I can tell you, we have given up not only Bagram Air Force Base, but we've given up eyes and ears in the region. For 20 years, we have been fighting the Taliban. This should never have happened after the first couple or 3 years. These people were out, and we have allowed them to come back in under this completely inept, incompetent Biden administration, where we're funding our former enemies. And through really, the average taxpayer has no idea that his hard-earned money is going to terrorists to help defeat American interests around the world and even create terrorist incidents here in our own country, and primarily through our southern border. Unbelievable.
But that's not who the Biden administration is focused on when it comes to security. In fact, we just learned, thanks to Uncover DC, that a former Congresswoman, Tulsi Gabbard, and some of the rest of us, I've also been told is on the Quiet Skies program for TSA, where they monitor you as you travel. How concerning is that to you, Congressman, that a former Congresswoman, and I would suspect even probably some current Congress people are, on this Quiet Skies program, and how much have you all looked into it?
Well, there's some people that are looking into this, and quite frankly, she is a former Democrat. That is very concerning. Right. If somebody like she is very concerned, then we ought to all be concerned about this situation. And you know what? We have so much money that comes and goes out of this country, and quite frankly, funding our enemies. The number one terrorist sponsor in the world is the Iranians, and quite frankly, we are helping them as well through backdoor deals. And so billions of dollars have actually gone to the Iranian regime through the Obama administration, and now through the Biden-Harris administration. It was cut off, as President Trump, former President Trump said, the Iranian regime was broke during those 4 years. They were not creating problems, and yet here they are again, because we've enriched them by billions through weakness and through really illogical, stupid decisions to fund them. And it couldn't be anything worse.